This video is sponsored by 8 Sleep. Welcome to episode 9 of Time on Feet. We're back in Canada after a busy season of travel, of racing, and of an adventure. We've actually been back now for almost 2 months from Europe, but we managed to squeeze in one more trip to Hong Kong in mid-November to run the Trans-Lantau by UTMB. I raced the 50K and AUDRÉE the 100K distance, and for me it was more of a fun run, while AUDRÉE begins to collect stones for UTMB Chamonix because she's decided that she's got some unfinished business there. And that's part of the reason why she had dropped down from the 50-mile distance to the 50K for the Eco Trail Wicklow race that we did at the end of September in Ireland, right before we came home, so that she could more or less use that as a training run for the 100K in Hong Kong 6 weeks later. So in this video, I'll tell you all about my recovery after that race in Ireland, and then how we approached our training in the short time that we had in lead up to the race in Hong Kong, and specifically how we managed our heat training protocols. Now, I was feeling pretty beat up after that 50-mile effort, but after close to a week completely off as we traveled home, I started to get mobile again the following weekend, and I did my best to take advantage of what was an incredible weather window that we ended up having here in Vancouver in early October, including with a hike in Squamish with my friends Hillary and Billy, who were in town from LA visiting family. It's a beautiful day in Squamish, BC. It's always nice to come back to Vancouver after traveling for so long. It really makes me appreciate what we have here at home. And here we are, early October, t-shirt weather, although I'm wearing a long sleeve today. And I'm up here with Billy and Hillary. They're just doing shooting some content over here. What are you guys shooting over there?
Oh, jacket for Path Project.
Some model.
Yeah.
New path releases.
Yeah.
Nice. Larches. Welcome home, Hillary.
Thank you.
How long did you live in Squamish for?
Not that long, like a year.
Yeah.
But Squamish adjacent, you know. Yeah. Fall is my favorite time though. It's so good. I have a mouthful of blueberries right now.
My fingers are blueberry stained. Yeah, I consider Squamish part of my extended backyard though as well. All right, stop it. Shoot a little bit more content. Influencers in the wild. Here we go. One reason that I found the recovery a little bit challenging this time was that the 50-miler in Ireland was a very runnable course. And I often find that more runnable races can be harder on the body, at least on the legs. Really mountainous races, they give you a chance to hike and to use different muscles. And while the fatigue after something like a mountainous 100-miler can definitely last a long time, a 50-mile effort like this, I just find takes a lot out of you and leaves you really sore. And then combine that with the jet lag that I had from the 8-hour time difference after flying back to Vancouver. And there's a reason that I mostly use those first 2 weeks back to focus on recovery. And with that in mind, I would like to quickly thank the sponsor of this video, 8 Sleep. The 8 Sleep Pod is a high-tech mattress cover that you can easily and quickly add to your existing bed. It's packed with advanced technology that allows it to automatically cool, heat, and even to elevate. As athletes, we all know how important sleep is to recovery, and the pod is clinically proven to improve sleep quality by up to an additional hour each night. And even one additional hour can translate into better physical and mental performance and productivity throughout the day. I'm normally a very light sleeper, and in addition to being sensitive to noise and light, I like to sleep fairly cool. But AUDRÉE prefers her side of the bed a little warmer. The pod uses precision temperature control to regulate your body's sleep cycles. It can cool down to 55 degrees Fahrenheit or warm up to 110 degrees Fahrenheit, and it does this separately for each side of the bed. So AUDRÉE and I can have our own ideal sleep temperatures. And the pod uses machine learning to analyze sleep patterns and automatically adjust throughout the night. It's also a powerful sleep tracker thanks to its built-in medical-grade sensors that monitor your sleep stages, heart rate variability, respiratory rate, and more, without the need for wearing any devices. And it can detect snoring, and with the optional added bass, can adjust your bed's position to help open your airways in order to reduce or completely stop the snoring. So if you're ready to take your sleep and recovery to the next level, then head over to 8sleep.com/Jeff Peltier and use the code Jeff Peltier, to get up to $600 off your Pod 4 Ultra purchase when bundled. And this offer ends soon, so don't miss out. By the third week of October, I was finally ready to start some real training again. And for this, I've relied on Audrey to help me put together a rough training plan so that I can make the most of that fairly short block of training in lead up to the race. She's been studying for her UESCA Ultra Running Coach certification with the program that's led by Jason Koop, which she actually just finished. And a big focus of our training was on heat training to prepare for the relatively high heat and humidity that we expected in Hong Kong. And this involved doing weekly hot yoga, along with 3 to 4 sessions per week of sauna training. But I'll actually hand it over to Audrey to explain all of that in more detail now.
Alright, so it's Sunday morning. We're just on our way out to the trails. We're gonna do our last little easy run here before we leave for Hong Kong in a couple of days. We're gonna park at the community center like we've been doing and then head straight into the sauna right after our run. So we were doing these sessions 3 to 4 times a week in the last 3 weeks before we left for Hong Kong.
Like, I can run faster!
How's the temperature today?
It's ideal. I mean, a little cool if you want to do some heat training, but quite comfortable.
And you want to head into the sauna right after the exercise. So the idea is you bring up your core temperature with the activity, and then you go into the sauna immediately after when your core temperature is still up. And that's one way to use passive heat training, basically. And the studies do say up to 30 minutes after exercise is okay, but basically the sooner the better for the more benefits. And we were using dry sauna in this case because that's what we had access to. There's very limited research on steam rooms, so we stayed away from that. Although I have read some articles about people also doing heat training in a hot tub. The idea though is that you have to be fully immersed, so like your bathtub at home probably wouldn't really work. Ideally for full acclimatization, you want to expose yourself 6, 7, or 8 days in a row even. And then after that, you can space out the sessions. So the idea is you want to build a tolerance early on and then you can maintain the adaptations basically. But in our case, we didn't really have enough time, and you have to remember that the heat training is another stress on the body. So in those last few weeks, we were still trying to get quality training in, right? So the quality training plus too many training sessions in the sauna would have been too much. For heat acclimation, more is not always more. So we try to basically strive to have a balance between being able to do all of our volume, our mileage, and some quality runs, and get some good sessions in the sauna. And for those sessions, we started at about 15 minutes and then slowly worked our way up to about 30-minute sessions by the end. And that's the idea, right? You want to build up gradually, and you want to get out basically when it starts getting uncomfortable. Of course, there's another way that we could have done this with active heat training. So that's, for example, training in a heated room or wearing a heat suit, as made famous recently by David Roche. But for us, that didn't seem too practical, although we did include once a week a hot yoga session, which I think was probably hugely beneficial. And we'll link to some of those articles in the description below in case you want to read more yourself.
Wow. This is so nice. Okay.
How does it feel? How's the heat?
Yeah, actually it's nice in the shade, but as soon as the sun hits, it's pretty intense.
So it's now late November. We've actually been home for 2 weeks from Hong Kong. But you're gonna have to wait for the film from the race to find out how, if at all, that heat training worked out for us. But I will say that the race was a lot of fun and that the course was beautiful. And that was actually my second time racing in Hong Kong. Funny enough, my very first trail race was in Hong Kong 14 years ago. While I was in town visiting a friend, I just run my third marathon, the BMO Vancouver Marathon, and I looked up to see if there were any other races, maybe a road 10K, and I discovered that the North Face King of the Hills series had a half marathon trail race in Hong Kong that I jumped into, and the rest is history here. And Hong Kong has some amazing trails. In fact, something like 40% of the surrounding area is designated as parks and protected areas. So definitely something worth checking out one day. So stay tuned for my film from that. But in the meantime, I'm really excited to finally share my film Soft Rock from our 4-day fast pack of the Hard Rock 100 course. And you may have also noticed a new series that I've launched called The Mud Room, which are shorter, kind of quicker breakdowns of reviews of some of the gear I've been using for my races and adventures. And the idea is to publish at least a couple of these each month as a supplement to my longer films. So now as we head into the winter season, my running will be more about maintenance than anything else. And I'll be focusing on strength training, and maybe I'll continue to do some yoga to help with mobility. And of course, we'll be dusting off the skis very soon as well. But over the coming months, I've got a lot of work to do on all of the editing of the rest of the films that we shot throughout the season. So stay tuned because we've got a lot more to come.